Fine tuning on the camera here, get us all dialed in, getting ready to get started. All right, I'm gonna follow along so I can read the comments. Okay. All right, looking good. Let me get this adjusted. Okay.
Anybody in there yet?
Yeah, we've got let's see, 13 of you guys. Welcome, welcome. Okay. All right, let me adjust this one more time.
What up? What up? Mr. Apex is in the house doing the camera work. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. While we get set up with our devices here, we got the iPad up and running here.
Yep.
How's everyone doing this afternoon? We've had a really busy day, so bunch of parking lot striping quotes in the rain. Just out there quoting them. You know how that goes. We quoted about 8 of them today. Apex was there with us. We grabbed some dinner while we was out.
Yeah.
So how's can y'all hear us okay? And do y'all got pretty good audio?
Let's see, I'm gonna raise this up an inch. There we go.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, these camera shots always hard to do.
All right, so we've got 21 people watching so far. We got 7 likes. Thank you guys.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate that. So this afternoon, we're going to be taking you all's questions. Also, if y'all want to call in live to the broadcast like we did last week, Jacob's going to drop his number down in the comment box below. So feel free to call in. If we have one person on the line, we get another call in. Obviously, we'll have to wait to catch you until we're off the phone with the other person. So anyway, let me see if I can. I'm going to try to follow along with my iPad here and a laptop here too as well, because the camera is a bit far away to see the comments, probably for both of us.
Yeah, so I'm following along on my YouTube as well. All right, guys, so I'm going to drop my number down in the comments. You guys can call in with your questions, and the number is 225-819-7330. You can call in with your question live on the air. We'll take the question and answer it for you.
7330. Okay. Sweet.
22 people. Awesome. We're just getting them all in.
If y'all have any questions y'all want to drop in the comment box below, we're going to be with y'all for approximately an hour.
Man, we got plenty of questions.
Plenty of questions. Well, let's go ahead and take the first one. Let's get this ball rolling, guys.
All right. Okay, it's most of them just saying, hey, what's up and everything. And
we definitely appreciate y'all being here.
Oh, Wild West, he says, you guys are 5 minutes late. You should have been 5 minutes early.
I'm 5 minutes late. Don't blame it on him. He was actually here early. I got hung up outside. But at least we got here in one piece. Apex driving that Tesla really fast today, so y'all might want to get on to him about that. He wanted to show me the 0 to 100, and I chickened out around 75. I told him to shut it down. Yeah, I don't like going fast anymore.
That thing is like, it'll pull you back in your seat. I've been in some fast cars, and that Tesla's nothing to play with.
So I got a question for you, Apex. When you're doing a roof wash and you're doing it by yourself.
Okay.
I know you did one with Big Chris the other day as well. How did you mitigate the issues with the runoff when you're by yourself versus having a helper there to water things down?
Okay, so let's just give 2 examples. So gutters, first example, if the house has gutters, specifically on the elevation, the side that you are cleaning, what you can do at that point is set up the ladder, bring all your hoses over, your soft wash, your chem hose, and your water hose. So you pre-wet the gutter line, you pre-wet the windows, and then you just stick the water hose in the downspout or near it.
Just let it keep flowing down.
Yeah, while that stuff is still wet, that's the key. While the gutter fascia and top lip is still wet, then you can go and from the ladder apply your chemical to the shingles, and then as soon as you're finished with that, you go back and wet again on the gutter fascia. You make sure the runoff coming out of the downspout is diluted. It's very active work with one guy.
Constantly back and forth. Huh?
Constantly, yeah.
I'll tell y'all an awful story. Some of you may find it hilarious because looking back on it, I do in a way, but at the time it probably wasn't nothing, no laughing matter. I was doing a shingle cleaning. This tell you how long I've been doing this shingle cleaning. It was in 1996. I was in a small town, a rural, well off the road in Louisiana. Probably 20 miles from the nearest gas station. But doing this 2-story roof, and back then I didn't have a soft wash skid, obviously. So I was up there with a pump-up sprayer, and I was getting it clean. You know, I had my mix 50-50, and I knew about the gutters. I had, just like he said, the gutters being the downspouts. I was protecting those with running water. Little to my knowledge, they had a gap in the gutter where it was broken and it separated it some kind of way. And my roof mix was flowing out of that gutter, down the side of the house, onto the ground for at least an hour, hour and a half. It wasn't a lot because I was using a pump-up sprayer, so it was a narrow stream coming down. And I got done with the roof looked great. I went and knocked on the lady's door. And as we was doing her walk around, I noticed the gray paint was completely gone off that house, just about the size of a pencil, all the way down. She handed me the check, and look, in 1996, I think it was about $700. That was a lot of money. And I had to check, and I knew I'd remove her paint. She didn't notice it at the moment. I went and got my truck, and I was backing out of the driveway. And for that moment, I was going to leave without saying nothing. So I turned around, went back in her driveway, knocked on the door, told her she had some damage, and ended up painting the backside of that home, which cost me about $1,000 more than what I made. So it was a devastating blow. And I was a young dude, out there trying to make a living. Basically, like you hear that old saying, really trying to feed yourself. I was really trying to feed myself. And so I had to repaint the backside of that house, and lesson learned, man, watch those gutters. You can protect your gutters, but make sure you inspect it. If you having any drips coming down, and if that's SH 5 or 6%, whatever it's dripping on, like in our case, it removed the paint, and it was killing some grass on the ground, which wasn't that big of a deal. But so a lot of times we look at these gutters and think it's a blessing, but also it can be a disaster if the gutters are in disrepair.
Yeah, I would hate to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But you did the right thing. You were
Yeah.
honest with your customer, and reputability is huge. Like, you have to be an honest, business, and that way you handled it the correct way. If you hadn't done that, then she would have told the whole town, "Hey, don't mess with this guy."
I know, I might not be in business today. You never know. We got any questions coming in that y'all want to answer, or any phone calls, or?
Yeah, if you guys want to call, we have plenty of questions. If you guys want to call in with your question, call 225-819-7330. That'll
Right.
call this phone right here. We'll take your question live on the air, and we will answer it. So,
Let's take a number one question. The best question you got.
okay, there's a lot to pick from here.
Okay, let's go with them.
Let me get one here.
There goes one right there.
Okay.
I
Anthony Wood.
Okay, go
He
ahead.
says, "Hey Billy, how did you hear about ICE in NC? That is my local shop that is far from y'all."
Industrial cleaning equipment in North Carolina. I want to say a friend referred me over to him, and we wasn't exactly sure what they offered. I contacted Mr. Wayne out there, and the rest is history. We developed a relationship. We got 2 of those big machines from him that y'all see on our trailer now. He actually sponsored one of our videos already, which I was very grateful for that. And he did make some sales off of it. So guys, if you all are looking for any type of equipment, those very large 800 IGX 800, or even something smaller, get in touch with Mr. Wayne at Industrial Cleaners Equipment there in North Carolina. And please mention that I sent you over. Obviously, he will sponsor another video and we can make some sandwich money off of it. But he does got good prices. Believe it or not, they really good prices. I did my shopping around, and obviously I wouldn't talk about him to you all because I think you all are very important to us, and I wouldn't refer you over there if I didn't think he was having a good company and great reputation. Anytime I've ever needed to talk to him, he was always on the spot. Either him or one of his engineers answered the phone, worked us through whatever we was working on. And but they sell chemicals, I understand, equipment, and all types of stuff.
All right, got another question here from Faz Power Washing LLC. What's a good way to get into paint striping and pressure washing Dollar General stores?
So Dollar General's is a weird animal. Oftentimes the Dollar General store is owned by someone that does not own the merchandise inside the store, if that makes sense. So basically you have these builders go in and build this building in this parking lot. It's basically a metal building with brick on the front and a small parking lot up front. They lease the interior of the building to someone that wants to handle the merchandise and the inventory. That is your Dollar General. They put the sign up front. But the owner of that building is so hard to find. But I'm going to tell you a quick way to find them here in a second. But I'm going to tell you what not to do. What not to do is waste your time by walking in a business card to the little cashier or whoever's run general manager. That's not going to get you anywhere unless they have a house that needs washed. But to get that Dollar General, you need to get their address, go on your local county's website, clerk of court, type in that address, do a property search on them, and find the owner of that building. Sometimes it may be 2 or 3 owners. Sometimes that one owner can own a multiple slew of Dollar Generals. It could be 10, 12, 30, 40, 60 of them even. And if you can get in with one, matter of fact, Apex is doing one of the dumpsters as well. So just think about it. That's not even a restaurant. That's just a fast, not even fast food. It's just a Dollar General. But they do have food products inside the store, and oftentimes those reclaims get thrown away or whatever, merchandise and stuff. So do that county property search. Those Dollar Generals, I will tell you, are not looking to pay the normal rate for striping. That being said, you can still go in and make a few $100s an hour. Now, when I mean a few $100s an hour, $200 or $300 an hour profit, versus some of our parking lots, Apex can tell you sometimes we make $2,000 an hour striping. Now, the Dollar Generals, especially with this economy getting a little bit strange, you need to talk to them about their washing the dumpster pads, storefronts, and striping. Now, those property owners are responsible for everything on the exterior of that building, including the roof cleaning, the gutters being filled. You know how those metal buildings are. Oftentimes those gutters get full up, and the water can back up into the roof and leak down on the inventory inside the store. So it's up on that property owner to keep those clean. I'll go out on a limb to say the ones I've done have been for really older population people, older gentlemen, 70, 80 years old, sometimes own a lot of these dollar stores. They're not getting on the roof, so that's a really good upsell for you to be able to do the gutter cleaning, clean the dumpster pads, that let them know that holds down the road. It's everything that we teach in our dumpster pad training. And guys, if y'all looking for some of that training, I know most of y'all have gotten it already, just get in touch with me at the end of this live and I'll get you hooked up ASAP. So that's the best way. Do you, now that one you did, how did y'all work out that deal?
Okay, so we just did it just straight up cash. Just knew the people. They gave me the cash. I went in and cleaned it. I ended up making it a recurring thing. So
At a Dollar General, dumpster pad cleaning.
yeah.
Now, whenever they need some striping or some major pressure washing, obviously they're going to be looking at Apex for that as well. So it's always good to have those relationships with those people. And I always tell guys, man, there are some things out there that the property owner has to have done. They absolutely have to have the gutters cleaned out for the reasons we just mentioned. They absolutely have to have the parking lot striped. If not, the fire marshal can literally come in and take the electricity out, like unhook the building. The dumpster pads is another thing. That's a board of health. So those three things have to have done. And in our business, we want to find those clients that must use our services. Now, that being said, they might want to choose one of our competitors, but at least they have to have it done. That's like in the middle of the night. If you develop a bad toothache, the dentist in the morning's price probably doesn't matter. It's just whoever can get in. And oftentimes we have these toothache calls. I mean, we have a property owner call us. The fire marshal is about to pull their permits for their cease to operation. And at that point, we don't like gouging people, but at that point, if he wants me to drop everything off my schedule to come fix something at his store, he's obviously going to pay a premium. And oftentimes they are excited to pay it. So positioning yourself in that. So you may send that property owner that business card and you might not hear nothing from them, or you might, but follow up with them 30 days, another 45 days, send another one. And eventually he's going to give you a ring.
Excellent. And we've got a pretty interesting question here from Logan Majors. He says, have you guys ever cleaned a cedar shake roof? If so, what process would you use?
Cedar shakes are not really common around Louisiana. I have done some cedar shake roofs in even houses. Obviously, you're going to use a SH product on it. Usually around that 5%. You need to use a neutralizer behind it. And also, you got to be careful up there with pressure, just like with shingles. But SH and the neutralizing agent behind it.
Okay, and we've got Jesse Sanchez. He says, hello, Billy. I have a pressure washer and a striping machine, but can't find too much work. Can you help me see what I have to do? I'm here, and my name is Jesse. Thanks.
Okay, sweet. Thanks, Jesse, for that question. Parking lot striping and pressure washing usually often do go hand in hand in marketing. I always call it the three-legged stool, three-legged marketing stool, if you will. There's Google out there. Google my business. There's your Facebook, and the way that y'all watching us right now on YouTube. So all three of those platforms are free for you to use. It does take a lot of homework to get them all set up straight and up and turning. But the good news is they're free. And then once they're up in place, you get these reoccurring calls. Just off of Google My Business listing, I get about 600 calls for service each month. That's every month of the year. We don't have any slow months. I know a lot of people say, well, August is slow and January is slow. Not so fast. Not if you have your marketing in place. Now, this is not paid Google AdWords that you have to pay per click. Those are a big help, and there are a lot of people that teach that and can run those for you. But if you're on a budget, do those Google, do Facebook, and do YouTube. In addition to that, that's your online marketing campaign. In addition to that, you want to be doing things like going after specific locations for dumpster cleaning. That will, the dumpster cleaning guys, I always say, man, do it. Reason being, yes, you can make money. I make about $12,000 a month cleaning dumpster pads. That's after paying him, Big Chris, and all the overhead. $12,000 a month cleaning dumpster pads. That right there usually is enough. So do the dumpster pads, do your yard signs, and that usually lends you into other work at those properties. So don't forget the small things. A lot of people want to hit a home run on finding a big giant mansion to wash or a big giant commercial building, myself included. I want to go after those big jobs, hospitals, but don't forget about the small things. Those small layers in your foundation is what's going to build that pyramid long term.
All right, and so I think we had a caller just try to call in. I'm gonna give him a call back. Yeah. I'll give him a couple rings. If he doesn't answer, we'll get the next question rolling.
Yeah, answer.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Apex and Billy Davidson. We are live on YouTube.
Yeah, bud.
Hey.
I appreciate you calling me back.
Yes, sir. How's it going tonight?
Good, man. Just headed back from Lowe's, headed to the house. I was just wondering, how many more years do you think Nick Saban's going to be coaching?
Nick Saban? Probably to the end of time.
Okay. Nah, for real, man. Thanks for everything y'all do, for real. It helps out those new folks. I got a 4 gallon a minute belt drive, and concrete. You know, I pre-treat and post-treat, but it seems like it doesn't get 100% of, you know, the dirt, and then little bitty algae, like little spots of algae, it'll leave behind, and I'll have to get my wand and hit them.
Okay.
Well, I just bought a brand new Whisper Wash Ultra, the 16-inch, and I got 2 gallon a minute tips in there. I did everything I know to do. Do you think by chance my pump may be wore out, or where would you start?
I would start out by putting a pressure gauge on the pump so you can know how much pressure you have. Also, you can do a flow test with a 5 gallon bucket and a stopwatch. But most often, if you're pre-treating and post-treating concrete, a lot of guys make the mistake by downstreaming it. Downstreaming it is not going to be nearly enough, so you need to post-treat with at least a 3%. And that would get rid of those little green spots. And those things are tough to get rid of. You can surface clean them, and then you have to go back with a yellow tip on a wand and hunt down each little quarter-size spot, and that could take forever. But if you put a good mix in a pump-out sprayer or X-Jet, or even using a soft wash pump about a 3%, those things will disappear right before your eyes and save you 3 hours more extra work.
Yes, sir. 'Cause I bought a mixer from Sean at Arkansas Soft Wash, and
Okay.
I'm still new to that game too. So maybe I just didn't turn the dial up enough.
Yeah, you probably so. And with a 4 gallon per minute machine, that pre-treating is going to be really important, just because you don't have the flow that you would with a 5.5 or either a 8. So I would look at that, maybe post-treating with a little bit stronger solution. Pressure check your machine, but also, I know you mentioned you had the new tips in it. Make sure if you got a 4 gallon per minute machine, you want the tips that properly size that. Your surface cleaner usually is a 2 spray bar tip, so check out those spray tip size. You don't want anything bigger than a 03 in those 203. So 2 would be, or like a 1502 would probably be a good tip in that one. You could have two smaller tips in it.
Yeah, I put 25-degree angle tips. Shall I go to 15?
Yeah, 15 would probably do a lot better with you with a 4 gallon per minute machine. But also that pre-treating is really important, around a 3% sodium hypochlorite. But we definitely appreciate your call, and if you need any help offline, feel free to get in touch with me anytime.
Okay, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, let's get to our
Awesome.
next question. Okay. It says, Dean Smith, he says, the red jackets that are reflective, where did you get them? Any chemical resistant, eco-bright soft wash and pressure wash?
Yeah, so those red jackets we get those from High Viz Supply. I think it's spelled H-I-Viz, V-I-Z Supply. You probably Google them. I think they're out of Florida. Those are chemical resistant. Now, as much as we use them, we replace ours every season, but I have seen guys get some of those high reflective jackets last several years. Now, I will say something about those high visibility jackets, guys. I've seen some guys doing some dumpster pads in my local area. Actually, I trained them through one of our video trainings. They're about an hour and a half away. But they were out there in dark clothing. One guy had camouflage on with a beanie cap. It was cold, I get it. They were freezing, out there doing it. But you really need to be wearing high visibility clothing. Apex can tell you how many cops have rolled up on us while we were doing dumpsters. And this could be an issue. You would think, obviously, they could hear the machine running, water spraying, but oftentimes they get a call that someone's fooling around in the dumpster area, and they're in a rush to get over there to see what's going on, and now they roll up on you with dark clothing, and it just makes it easier if they can spot you, like that last cop did.
Yeah.
As soon as he turned down the road, we could hear him gun the engine. We seen the lights on,
Dude,
and I was like, guys, just drop what you're doing and let's walk over there to the tailgate of the truck. Well, as soon as the guy rounds the corner, he shuts it down. He's seen that we had all our reflective, he could see us from a mile away at that point. So wear that high visibility clothing. Oftentimes you'll see us wearing the bright yellow shirts, even in the summertime. You work around someone's home. If you're wearing clothing that does not look like work clothing, you're probably going to get law enforcement called on you. And, law enforcement is great. They're trying to do their job. They got other things to go do instead of checking on us. And then it slows you down as well.
Yeah, and I can personally attest to that because no matter who's driving through the parking lot, like for an example, I was cleaning a location and I had my cone set up blocking the entrance. I'm thinking, oh, everything's good. And the next thing I know, this minivan is rocketing around the parking lot. And I think it's because I had my bright reflective jacket on that shined in their headlights and shined back at them, and they, didn't hit me. You got to really, it's important for safety. And again, it lets the cop know, hey, okay, that's a worker, because that's how they, look at things like.
Yeah, and oftentimes if you got this high visibility clothing, the person that called the police, that call never happened. So we do a lot of banks. I tell my guys all the time, look, we're doing a bank tonight. This is the time for sure. Wear your reflective clothing. Of course, they always do. Banks are notorious for we getting the police called on. In schools, we do private schools, even striping at nighttime. Oftentimes, we're in a parking lot late at night. Sometimes the parking lot lights have went off, and we have handheld lights and bar lights and stuff. And that high visibility clothing is a must.
Absolutely, and we got a pretty interesting question here. We were actually talking about this earlier today, so thank you for this question. Mr. Logan Majors, he says, if you had to pick a second truck to buy and you was going to have a skid rig, would you buy a half-ton or a three-quarter-ton truck, and would you recommend basic single cab or a quad?
So I would go with the quad just because I have a crew, but yeah, 3/4 ton is all you need it just because of the water that you're carrying on board for the skid. Guys, remember, a gallon of water is about 800 pounds. 8 pounds per gallon, so 100 gallons of water is 800 pounds, not including your other equipment. Just our hose reel with 4 links of hose in it probably weighs 500 pounds by itself. Then you look at machinery, gas, chemicals. So you really start to get well above that capability of a half ton. Now think about you're moving down the interstate with it or going down some side roads. The water is moving around in a tank, and we can feel it sometimes even on our truck. So that 3/4 ton's really the way to go if you can afford it. And I like the quad cab. Just jackets, gear, anything you don't want to get rained on. You could put it in the back of that cab right there.
Yeah, and let's say, you're at a remote location without access to a water spigot right where you're working, and you have a 275-gallon tote on the back of your truck. Well, you're now hauling 2,200 pounds with just the water in that tote, minus the machines and all that stuff. So make sure your vehicle is very capable, over capable.
Yeah, and I never recommend carrying too much water with you. I have carried 100, 150 gallons, but that's pretty much my comfort level limit right there.
Absolutely. Okay, we got another question here. Mario Knows It's Flat says, I left lines in a driveway today. I really want to fix it for my customer. I have a 16-inch whisper wash, stock nozzles. Am I moving too fast across the pavement?
It could be, yeah. Also, those smaller surface cleaners are notorious for that. You have the lines, the clean edges will be on the edges of the surface cleaner, and right down the middle, you'll have that 8 or 10 inches right down the middle where it's still kind of got some shadows in it. I would go back, usually with those small surface cleaners, what we recommend is cross cleaning. So you clean in one direction and then you switch directions to clean and then post treat. And that's just unfortunate. Having that small surface cleaner is going to make you work triple the time versus a 5.5 or either an 8 gallon per minute. But that being said, yeah, cross cleaning, meaning one direction, do the other direction, and then post treat it in that driveway to look as good as anyone can make it.
Yeah, I've personally experienced what he's talking about with the overlap there, and the post treat really does help that out. And the reason it does that to begin with is because when that tip is moving around in the circle, when you're moving across the driveway, it's got more time on the side that it's actually spraying than the front. So that's why it leaves that a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, just because the distance is traveling.
Yeah, so definitely post-treat. That'll get that taken care of. Let's
even a little bit of pre-treating is not gonna hurt that as well. Anytime you're doing flat work, I like to pre-treat and post-treat. I always tell guys pre-treating is for you, post-treating is for the customer. So just to clear that up, pre-treating makes your job easier as you're doing the work. Post-treating is the longevity for the customer. So you can always upsell on the post-treat, but not on the pre-treat.
All right, and got another one, interesting one here from Lionel Perez. He says, Perez. He says, Perez Pressure Washing and Soft Wash Pro Service. Have y'all ever had an issue with using the customer's own water supply to clean their house?
Nah, very rarely. The price of water in most parts of the United States is very, very minimum. Now, I do understand out in the desert areas out west, water could be an issue. But yeah, you almost have to use the customer's water. Like we were saying before, you're going to have to carry thousands of pounds of water with you to go clean a home. And sometimes it's just not feasible. Then there are times we do carry out water with us, and it's only because the customer does not have water there. Like whether we're doing a big sign out by the interstate, oftentimes we'll do that, and obviously there's no water around for a ways. But residential washing, we always hook up to the customer's house.
Yeah.
And it's expected too. So if the customer has an issue with it, always let them know, hey, I'm gonna be out here for about 3 hours. My machine uses X amount of gallons per minute. And then you can kind of figure out we're gonna use 800 or 900 gallons of water. Usually that's under probably $3 or $4 cost back to the customer.
Yep, and I actually ran into that. So I was doing this lady's house, and she did not want me using her spigots at all.
Wow.
I could not use any of her water. So I'm here, I've got my truck and trailer parked in front. I've got to make something happen. So what I actually did is I went and talked to the neighbor, since I have plenty of hose to reach. I got like 200 feet of water hose to feed the tank. So I went and knocked on the door, talked to the neighbor. I tossed him like $10. I was like, hey man, can I use your water? He's like, sure. So, in a pinch, just make something happen, within reason though. So we do have another interesting question here from Michael C. He says, Mr. Davidson and Apex on blacktop pavement cleaning. I know you're not supposed to use a surface cleaner,
That's
wand
right.
only, parentheses. Can I use any cleaning solution or water only?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can use some cleaning solutions. Mainly something very sudsy works really good on blacktop, whether it be a commercially grade surfactant or either something like a Gain dish soap, something that's not going to be a degreaser inherently in a degreaser. Obviously, blacktop has a lot of these petroleum products in it. If you use strong degreasers, acids, or solvents in it, you deteriorate the blacktop permanently. So, yeah, you do that, something very sudsy. Now, you can use brushes and brooms on blacktop. That does work as well. Let's just say, for example, if I was cleaning a blacktop driveway, let's say it's 1,000 square feet. That's general, kind of probably around here. That's kind of your general blacktop driveway. I would charge probably about 15 to 20 cents per square foot. I would lay down either with an X-Jet or either a downstream injector or a really good sudsy layer on it. I would take the big 4-foot, 48-inch push broom, agitate it, and then power rinse it off either with a J-rod or a white tip, but from a distance if you had a white tip. Just remember, if you put your hand in front of that spray and it's hurting it, you should not spray the blacktop with it. So make sure you only using 500 to 700 PSI at a distance, but use those suds. Let those suds pick up that. Some of those suds are what we call encapsulators, so they actually lift the dirt and suspend it. And then most soaps have lipids in it, so those lipids kind of get the dirt up, it suspends them, and then kind of lubricates things and let it be able to flow. But it takes a lot of flow to clean blacktop.
Absolutely. And so I'm just rolling through these questions. And by the way, we've got 43 people watching us. We've got 15 likes. I appreciate those likes, y'all. Definitely.
Thank you for the likes. It definitely helps out our Google and YouTube ratings, and when we do more lives, more people will see it, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah, we're trying to help people out. The more you guys like, the more it promotes it to like your friends and stuff, gets them in here, and everybody's questions answered. Okay, so got a user here, Daddy182 has a question. He says,
Okay.
He or she says, best way for one guy with a 3,200 PSI, 2.7 gallon per minute to make $1,500 a week. What washes should I offer? I have a wand attachment, 15-inch surface cleaner, want to buy X-Jet and J wand and better slash surface cleaner.
Yeah, definitely. You can use an X-Jet with that machine. I would go after some residentials. You're trying to make $1,500 a week. You could go after some very small commercial jobs, such as the dumpster pads, as we always talk about. The dumpster pads, you can do those with that small machine all day long. I wouldn't try to tackle any giant driveways. Now, if you have the X-Jet, again, you could pre-treat and post-treat, would make the driveway go a lot quicker. But a bunch of vinyl sidings you can do with that. And I would just go out, get you some good print material. Residential power washing slash soft washing needs to be on that print material. Customers are starting to know what soft washing is and the reason why we do it. So that's a good thing. The education is getting out to our customer base. So put that on your print material. Don't forget about those yard signs, guys. We teach this all to guys all the time. People getting littering tickets, people not having good results with their yard signs, and but yard signs done the right way can be very profitable. Matter of fact, I was just telling Apex this Thursday we're gonna do a small house and a small roof for $1,900 off of my yard sign. So you can make some serious money off a yard sign. And I don't know if Apex wants to share his story about his yard sign, but he created a yard sign. He thought it was going to be similar to my strategy. He actually knew about my strategy because it was there when we filmed the training course.
Man.
He, for every yard sign that he put out compared to the one that I put out using my strategy, I would get like 10 calls, 15 calls. And then he was getting
Dude,
like
I didn't get one call
maybe
for 3 months.
So
All right.
I think they finally got a call or two.
Yeah, I finally, after a long time, probably 100,000 people drove past that sign. I got lucky and I got one call. So, there's a proven way to do it. This man knows what that way is. And let me tell you something. I wish that I hadn't wasted money on, not doing it the right way with these signs.
Buying the wrong yard sign, putting them in the wrong places, using the wrong colors. It all matters. And I'm no genius at this. Trust me, I found out about this through starvation. So, when you get hungry, you come up with these ideas. I think it makes you a little bit smarter. And so I figured this out over the last 25 years. What yard sign works, where to put them, and where not to put them is real important, because then you start getting these $175 littering tickets from your county or your local city, and there's a much better way to do it. So I don't want to say on here because I don't want my neighbors around here doing the same thing. That's my competitors. So if y'all are interested in finding out more about my yard sign training course, you can send me a text after we get off of here later tonight. So you're going to change. He's changing his yard signs now.
Yeah.
So for y'all that don't know, Apex is a full-time employee of Davidson Pressure Washing Painting, but also he has his own pressure washing business, which we are very happy about that. It's not quite my area, but so he's doing really well with it. Apex Pressure Washing also has a YouTube channel. Guys, please go check him out, subscribe to him. We're trying to get him up to 1,000 subscribers as quick as possible so he can start to do lives just like this from his work location and other locations and be able to interact with y'all. Now, obviously, he's not considered a veteran in the business, but he will be soon. But he has a different look. It's been 25, 26 years since I struggled in the pressure washing business. So sometimes I have to think back and remember what worked for me. And he's actually going through it right now. So he's actually going through the same things that you're going through. So if that makes sense, sometimes we all can learn from each other. So please go subscribe to him and get his subscribers up to 1,000 so he can start doing some live broadcasts.
Absolutely. We've got 41 people in here. I'm getting really close to 500. I'd like to get over 500. I appreciate everything, guys. And all right, so we're going to move forward with this next question. Mr. Logan Majors, he says, there's a time and a place for everything. So when do you get insurance for your guys? Workers' comp, parentheses. Have you ever had any incidents, accidents, parentheses, from guys getting hurt on the job?
No, I've never, thank God, got any accidents. I've got hurt myself on a job. One thing about this, usually I will never let my guys do anything that they hadn't seen me do 100 times. So if I ask them to go scrape some sludge out of a dumpster pad, that means they've seen me do it a bunch of times. If they got to go drag a hose across a field, They've seen me do it before. So that's number one thing. Don't send your guys out there to do the crappy work while you sitting back and not teaching them the proper way. That right there will be the number one way to keep your guys safe, because if they haven't seen you do it, they can't imitate you. You can talk to them till you're blue in the face, but they need to see you do it. So when to get the insurance, as quick as you can. You owe it to your people that's working for you. Obviously, they're making you money. They should be important to you. You should care about their personal health. Apex, Big Chris, and my other employees are fully insured. And if something, God forbid, were to happen to them, they're going to be well taken care of. Now, what does that mean for Billy Davidson? That means I've spent a lot of money in insurance. That means my prices can't be as cheap as the guy that's working out of his trunk. But like I said, God forbid, one of them step in a hole on a job site and twist their ankle and they down for 6 weeks. We know they're not going to lose their vehicles, their house, and everything else. So it's important to have that insurance. There's 3 types of insurance you will need once you start getting employees. You want general liability, obviously, that protects your customer. The reason why you want to protect your customer, because it protects your business and protects your employees. If you throw a ladder through a $20,000 glass window and you got to go out of business, now your employees are out of work. So that general liability is a very important aspect of your business. Also, workers' comp. Whether you cover yourself, you can exclude yourself in workers' comp. You can do that. I don't know if that's the wisest thing that you want to do. Depends on if you have been incorporated and if you're on payroll. I would urge you at some point to get on a payroll. That is very important to you and your business. Workers' comp will protect my employees. So again, if they get hurt again, their hospital bills are paying. Lord knows hospital bills are outrageous. I mean, one sprained ankle can be $10,000-$15,000 in hospital bills. Also, general commercial auto. Commercial auto is very important, guys. If you are transporting your employees, whether they are riding with you or driving your vehicle, like what happened to us, God forbid somebody run a red light and hit us head on. Big Chris was driving completely in the right. We're sitting at a red light and the car just runs it and hits us. He was completely taken care of through my commercial auto insurance and our working comp policy. Up front, no questions asked. I mean, they treat him like a king. So it's really important that those insurances are put in place. And again, the timing is as soon as you can. So, you need to be in touch with an agent, that sort of thing, and at least start getting these quotes, whether you buy them right now or not. At least put those prices down, stick them by your office, stick them by your computer, look at them every day, and make sure that's one of your goals, to get your company fully insured. And then as soon as you do, you can start putting that on your business cards, and again, that separates you from the guy working out of his trunk.
Absolutely. And we've got kind of a related question here. Dean Smith, he says, what do you recommend for neutralizing chlorine when spilled or splashed on you?
Oh, on yourself, actually soap and water is the best thing. Soap and water, and also, guys, if you're out there, and this is something I didn't do early on and I should have, protect yourself with lotions, Vaseline, skin protections like that before you start. In the summertime, you're using sunscreen, that does protect too as well. Use clothing to protect yourself. And in the event that you get some on you, go rinse it off with a mild soap and water. Don't go use your degreaser to wash your hands with. Just keep you a good bottle of hand soap in there and rinse it off thoroughly and immediately.
All right, and Wild West, to answer your question, yes, I do still have my hot rod. However, I have been so swamped with roof wash calls and him and everything else, I don't have time for my hot rod right now.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got another question here from Daddy182. He says, I want to wash a house for free to put a sign in their front yard to get noticed. Is that a good idea?
Probably not. No. Most of those homeowners, that sign is going to be gone within a day or two. I wouldn't go do free work just for a sign. There's so much a better way. And then that's not going to probably get you a lot of customers anyway. I've had work done in my home, and they want to put a sign out in the front yard. And of course, I'll let them, but I don't think they received one call from it. There's so much better ways. Usually when someone's leaving their house, everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's hustling and bustling around. They got the kids in the back screaming. The husband's fighting with them. You know, all that drama going on in people's life. They're on Facebook, driving. They're not going to see you sign this. I don't think it's worth washing the house unless it's a kinfolk and you're getting, that out of it too, where you're washing maybe a sister's house or a grandma's house, and you can put a sign there. Well, sure, go ahead. But just to go wash a stranger's house for free, what's your take on that, Apex?
I mean, he's trying to jack you, man. Don't give him a free job when you don't even know that there's other places. There's a correct way to do it.
There's a
this
correct
man
way.
knows that.
Yeah, and then if you do put it out in front of someone's house, if they have a HOA, they're gonna take it up the next morning anyway.
Yeah, and so let's say you do land a job, okay? So you might want to know this. Michael Garza has a question here. What's the best way not to kill the grass if they don't have gutters?
Well, Apex has got some experience with that.
All right, you're gonna want to write this down. The solution to pollution is dilution. You're gonna want to wet that grass up, and at 10 minutes before you start treating the roof,
Yep.
during and 10 minutes after, definitely just a lot of water, because once that SH is diluted enough, it's basically harmless. And
Yep.
yeah,
Sure.
the solution to pollution is dilution. Just remember that.
So you can damage some grass. I'll always let my customer know that is a possibility. I'm always straight up front with my customer. Some people say, don't say the B word, don't say bleach in front of them. That's usually the first thing out my mouth is we're using bleach. The last thing I want to do is get my crew set up there and start spraying something, and someone bails out of their house and makes us leave. At that point, it's a lost cause. So I'm not that desperate. So yes, Mrs. Jones, we're using bleach. And yes, Mrs. Jones, we could kill everything out here on the property, including us, if we use this solution wrong. But we're not going to use it wrong. We properly trained. We got the best equipment that money can buy. And we do constant educational programs with our employees so they are aware and of the harms. So always be upfront with your customer. Now, that being said, like Apex is saying, 10 minutes before you spray your first drop of bleach. That's important. Slow down. Don't let your anxiety get to you. I know you're in a rush. You're ready to start spraying that bleach. That's the fun part. But do your pre-wetting first 10 minutes, a good 10 minutes, maybe 12, 15 minutes if the water flows poor, before you spray your first drop of bleach, and then constantly during the entire process, especially if you're doing a roof wash, and then 10 minutes after, because you're going to get a drip or two. And also make sure you wet anything that that the SH can drip on. It might damage paint or something.
Yeah.
Fascia, wall, side, windows, etc.
And
make sure you constantly wet it.
And look out for like dog bowls.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I had that the other day. Like you gotta flip them upside down, or rinse them off or something, because if a little bit of fallout gets in that dog bowl, it's not good for them.
No, it's salty too, and a dog will drink bleach. And sure enough, cats will too as well. Anytime you have any fish ponds around, I know a lot of people have those little goldfish ponds around their front yard and stuff. No bleach can get in there, so you're gonna have to figure something out using diversion, or either have them cover the thing up. The only thing about covering up some of this stuff, you don't know what's going on under it. So, that being said, you can cover up a little fish pond, a goldfish pond, and then fry the fish in there, heat them up too much. So, anytime you run across anything like that in particular, maybe you want to get in touch, take a few pictures, get in touch with Apex. He has a 24-hour hotline. Also, I'm reachable at times. Matter of fact, the number that's in the chat box below, you can go ahead and drop it again.
Yep.
That's his 24-hour hotline, guys. It does cost to call him at whatever time you want to call him, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., whatever you want to do. He charges like $25 fee. He'll send you a little link to pay. But if you got one of these issues where you have something that you just don't know, just hit the pause button for a second. Talk to someone that's been through it to make sure you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. And in the rare occasion that I don't know what you're talking about, then I can call Billy. But that's really only ever happened one time. And
He's done several thousand jobs with us so far over the past 3 years. So
Lots.
it pretty much has seen, you kind of start to see the same thing. After maybe 500 jobs, you kind of seen that before, if that makes sense. You know, it's like watching the same movie but in a different seat, basically. So it's I'd say that anywhere from 300 to 500 jobs, you pretty much have kind of seen just about everything out there.
All right, and we got a pretty good one here. Faz Power Washing LLC. He says, "What do you say to a GM of a restaurant franchise to clean their dumpster pads, or should you contact the owners?"
So a franchise restaurant, yeah, actually the franchise restaurant sometimes can and do authorize a small budget. Usually it's under $1,000 a month that they can spend on miscellaneous things. I forget what the term they use. It's kind of like a miscellaneous spending account under 1,000, sometimes a little less, but never more than that. But yeah, you can contact the GM with it or the property owner. We go over all of that in our dumpster pad training course. If y'all want to watch that, that's about an hour long. Probably ain't got quite enough time to explain it all, but contacting them with the proper information, the proper before and after pictures of other ones that you've done, the proper pricing is important too. Just because they got $1,000 a month to spend, don't mean they're gonna spend it all with you. They got other things to do like landscaping, window cleaning, power washing, that sort of stuff. So think about that whenever you start to approach them.
All right, and we've got 47 people watching, 24 likes.
Thank you for the 47 guys watching. That's a lot. We never know how many people are going to tune in. I also want to say, if y'all want to call in live, the guys that just joined us, Apex can drop his number. I think he's got his phone on vibrate so it don't ring in y'all's ear so loud. But drop your number in the chat box. Someone wants to call, we'll take their call.
Absolutely. My number is in the chat for you guys to look up. And in case you can't see the chat for whatever reason, it's 225-819-7330. You can call in with your question. We'll get it answered for you. And we have another question here from H2O Home Improvements. It's good to see you, H2O.
Mr.
Right.
Hunter.
He says, "Hey guys, spoke to a McDonald's manager and they would like to get a quote to clean 4 locations. What is your process to keep water/bleach out of the storm drains?"
What is that on, a restaurant?
McDonald's.
Oh, McDonald's, yeah. So 2 things about these storm drain guys, and trust me, I am no EPA expert, but I've been around this business for a long time, and we all know we try our best to keep our water out of storm drains. Sometimes you have no options, but for the most part, what you want to do is look at that storm drain. That storm drain is going to let you know whether that storm drain can receive some of your dirty water or not. The storm drain is going to have some stamps on it, maybe even a symbol of a fish or some universal symbol, or it will say stamped on there, drains to public waterways or something similar to that. That means you, technically, by law, you cannot put wastewater down that storm drain. Now, does wastewater ever go down a storm drain? Well, obviously, every time it rains, it does. But to prevent that from happening, you need to sandbag that storm drain or block it up however you can, and then divert that water over to a grassy area or to another storm drain that goes into a sand trap. So most often, you have these parking lots that were built more modern times. They will have a select few storm drains in the parking lot that drains to a sand trap somewhere beneath the parking lot. Now, the EPA rules state that our wastewater cannot leave the property. So if we think about that statement in a little more detail and unpack it, what does that mean, leaving a property? Well, it means leaving a property. So if it goes down a storm drain, goes out to a ditch, and goes down to a street, to a river, to a creek, and down out to the ocean, well, that's leaving a property, obviously. But if it's contained inside a sand trap beneath the parking lot, then you should be good. And then diverting that water to a grassy area is also important, using maybe a sludge pump and sandbags.
All right.
And also I want to mention too, Hunter with H2O Home Improvements, guys, they sell some of the best energy drinks on a planet. I have been meaning to talk about Hunter. I think his spouse is doing it as a stay-at-home mother. Hunter, if you're still listening, if you could drop one of your links in the comment box below. Guys, if y'all ever need some of these energy drinks, we love them. Apex drinks them too as well. Big Chris loves them. It's a good place to get them for sure.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, sometimes, as he's getting late.
You need a little picker-upper. Hunter will be there to help you for sure.
Yes, indeed. All right. And it help you focus, just help you power through it, and then, you know, don't take it too early in the night, you want to definitely
Space it out, kind of
yeah.
pace yourself, huh?
All right. And so this is a pretty interesting one. Logan Major says, have you ever came across a job so big where you had to reach out to a secondary competitor to complete the job?
Oh, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. We me and right before Apex came on board, we did a job for the VA. Our part of that job was well over $250,000. The entire job was nearly 400,000. So I did sub out about $150,000 worth of it, and it was to a guy that was parking lot striping as well. He wasn't quite in my area, so he was out off about 100 miles from me, and I did that intentionally because obviously this guy would know my prices, he would know our methods, so I didn't choose someone right next door. But we've done that. We have another job pending at a large airport that Apex sort of kind of landed. We don't know where it stands at. We hadn't heard back, but we've been following up. If we get that job, we will actually reach out to a couple competitors in the area. But it'd be competitors that I have a relationship with too as well.
Yeah, we
So,
know these guys. Yeah. All hands on deck if we actually get that one, dude.
yeah, that would be a big one.
Yeah, and okay, so Jerry Brundage, he says, how do you protect lighted signs on commercial buildings from SH?
Ah, that's a great
Man,
one.
lighted signs rearing their heads
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, those backlit signs, guys, you really need to be really careful. It's kind of like what we do with pre-wetting to protect plants. We will wet them. Now, they're only going to be able to handle falling rain. They're designed to handle falling rain, especially the outdoors, obviously. So you don't want to protect them by using pressure to wet them. So just wet them down really good with a water hose. If you can, get with the facility maintenance people there and have them disengage those signs, the electricity on them during that time of cleaning. That's very important because those signs do come on. Like from dusk to dawn lights. Those sometimes you can get those signs turned off and where they won't be an issue. But if they are on, you can pre-wet them. Using a water hose, let falling water, spray your SH up there, and then rinse the signs off immediately again. Now that being said, you might be wetting some areas and rinsing off your SH, so it is a process. You might have to do that several times, but at the end of the day, you're protecting those signs. Oftentimes those signs have a type of stain on it, the color of the letters. We've never had any major issues with sodium hypochlorite, but if you're using like a really strong degreaser, which I wouldn't recommend on a sign, you could make some of that fade and come off. So you just got to be careful with it. Also, if you can get them turned off and get up there and cover them, which I rarely like doing it because it takes so much extra time to cover them all up. That's another way. But make sure you're charging accordingly too. Now there have been some times where we needed to put a really strong mix around a sign to get it clean, and we just did not feel comfortable with it. So we did have to use a little bit of pressure, like on an extension wand, to kind of wash in between the letters carefully, just because we didn't want to throw like a 4% up there.
Yeah, it starts getting tedious, and when things start getting tedious, that's when it starts getting expensive.
Yep. Your price goes drastically up. I mean, hundreds of dollars per hour dealing with that. They know about it. They expect it. It's a lot easier for you to do it the right way instead of damaging the signs. And those signs cost tens of thousands of dollars oftentimes, so be careful around them.
Yeah, and okay, just firing right into the next question. All right, and we're almost at an hour. We're at 59 minutes, so let's go ahead and get this one. Michael C. says, Mr. Davidson and Apex, when cleaning a house with a 1 to 1.5%, what is needed to protect T-Rex decking or stained deck?
Sure, pre-wet. If you can leave a water hose trickling on it while you're working in that area, that would be a great idea. Now, that being said, 1 to 1.5% is not a really serious type of solution. Oftentimes, you can get away with it, but if it's a really hot deck, the sunshine's shining on it, just like I talk about when you're doing a building with windows on it, make sure you touch it. If you feel heat coming from it, that means the H2O can evaporate out of your SH solution. So guys, think about this for a second. If you got 2% making contact to a wall, that's 2% by volume. That means you got 2% sodium hypochlorite and 98% water. If you start evaporating some of that water, now you don't have 2%, you might have 4%, 6%, 8%. You can actually raise your sodium hypochlorite solution up to 80% if you start to evaporate that water out. At that point, it's like an acid. It's just gonna eat through wood, paint, whatever you got there. So pre-wetting it, cooling it off, put a sprinkler there. I've done that before. Any method that you can to keep water on that situation while you're doing your overhead cleaning, while that fallout's falling down on that deck, and then rinse it off afterwards. And we do it all the time. It always comes out perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Flash evaporation is definitely one of your biggest adversaries, especially when you're soft washing a roof. I've personally had to prevent that and just keep watching out for that day to day with these jobs. And a big tip is if you feel the window and it's hot, you need to have water on that like constantly. If it's cool and it's in the shade, you can kind of get away with it for a little while. Just wet it, come back to it, wet it again.
Can't let it dry.
But that flash evaporation will leave cloudy spots in the glass. Homeowner will be really mad. Never, you don't want to have to deal with that. So prevention is everything. And so we've got a pretty good question here. And this one pertains to striping. So Joe Chapman, he says, do you need a specialty license outside of a occupational license like a contractor's or painting contractor license to legally stripe parking lots?
No. There's two things about parking lot striping, guys. You got restripes and you got new layouts. The new layouts, you do need to be insured for that. The reason being, and then the insurance may require you to have some type of training. Obviously, with the All-Pro striping course, it is exclusive enough to qualify for that. We're actually working on a certification right now as we speak. For the guys that do take the All-Pro striping course, there's going to be a test. If you have already taken it, we're going to push you that test to you automatically at some point in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be like a 30 or 40 questionnaire test. Once you complete it, you'll be able to download that certification. Whenever you're applying for your insurance, for parking lot striping, you can present this certification to them. That lets them know you do have some proper training for parking lot striping. For new layouts, you got to have insurance, because if you mess that up out there and there's an accident in a parking lot, two cars collide, and a handicapped person doesn't make it up the wheelchair ramp safely for your screw up, they're going to sue your insurance, obviously. So you need to have insurance for that. Now, in the All-Pro parking lot striping course, we teach how to do this exactly right every time without fail. So your insurance will never be tasked with having to pay for one of these major accidents, and you won't be sitting in court answering questions. Now, on your restripe, basically everything's generally grandfathered in on a restripe. If you're going in restriping, you probably still need to have some insurance in case you spray some cars with your paint, which is hard to do, but it has happened to people. Also, you need to have workers' comp as well, because obviously you're working for a commercial building. Oftentimes they require that. As far as certification for restripes, the best certification I can give you for that would be to do your OSHA 10 construction training. That is important. That's going to be for the safety of you and others on their property. Oftentimes when we submit our estimate for parking lot striping, we will either submit our OSHA training cards, or either at least let them know that we're all our employees are OSHA trained, drug tested, background checked, and are fully insured. So those are some of the things you need to think about parking lot striping. Now, also with parking lot striping, that you can start doing some mom and pop grocery stores, some mom and pop restaurants, maybe some small chiropractors and dentist office without having all that insurance. Oftentimes you can go in there, make a few $100s an hour, start to get this work, start to make those checks, then start to position yourself to get this type of insurance, your OSHA training, background checks for you, yourself, and your employees, and any drug tests, that sort of thing. Also, I want to mention too, whenever you're doing parking lot striping, you can go to any of these office depot stores and get a name tag. We're in the process of doing that too. I want to have all my guys wear at least a name tag on a collar chain, like a thing, or either a name tag pinned to their shirt, photo ID. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like
So,
on a lanyard. Yeah.
yeah, like on a lanyard. So that's going to be real important that they need to have that on them doing while they're out there doing the job. It makes you look better, and then if people run across you, they can see who you are and then call you out by name, and then they know your company name too as well.
All right, and we've got another. We got some striping questions and washing questions. I'm gonna hit you with a striping question. So, Rich Hoops, he says, where do you recommend we get our parking lot stencils from?
So I have a personal store. I can drop it in the description of this once we come off of here. I want to say it's in the last video that I uploaded on YouTube as well. You can get it from me. I would appreciate it. I'd make a few dollars off of each sale from that. You can check with your local Sherwin-Williams. That being said, everything right now is going to have to be shipped to you, whether you order it online, through our store, or from Sherwin-Williams. Usually Sherwin-Williams don't carry that in stock, unfortunately. We do plan on carrying some stock later this year. If we get another building, I'm going to carry some stencils and stuff like that. That way, if some of these guys need it, you don't have to wait online. I can just next day it to you the next day, because sometimes when you need something, you need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't need it 2 weeks from now. You need it now. So check Sherwin-Williams, check our online store as well. And now I was to say this real quick, Apex, before we move on. Whenever you're buying stencils, guys, not all stencils are created equally. Obviously, you got some out there that might be a few dollars cheaper than the other ones. The cheap ones, some people say, but they don't last very long. That's not the issue, that it doesn't last very long. What really matters is it ADA code? You can have somebody making stencils out their garage somewhere, and it's not up to ADA code. They call it the stroke on the stencils. So especially a handicap man, if it's off a little bit, if that stroke is off a little bit, that means the spaces between the head, the arm, and the wheel, or if it's too narrow or too wide, or if it's tilted 1 degree or the other, all that can throw your whole ADA off. So make sure you're buying ADA compliant stencils when you buy it. Sherwin-Williams is definitely a good spot to buy it, and then through our store, we've checked it all. It's all in code.
Absolutely, and you also want to make sure the thickness of it too, that it's thick
Yeah,
enough.
that's the millage. Yeah, 60 mils or above, 60, 90, or either 100 mils. I buy the 90s. 60s are a little bit flimsy, but they are cheaper. Those will work. A 90 mil seems to be about where I like them. They're not too thick, but they're not too thin, and they last a lifetime. So 90 mils. I've had 90 mil stencils. I got the shop's been in there 20 years, so they still like new. So 90 mils is perfect, actually.
All right, and okay, so sir, I'm gonna try to pronounce your name correctly. Apologies if I don't. Mr. Ahmed Al Numari says, do I need hot water for gum removal in a gas station?
Not necessarily. It does help some, but unless you have a real good hot water system that doesn't give you any issues, hot water is nice to have, but oftentimes lay down a really good degreaser, maybe a little SH2, and those gum spots should come right on up with a yellow tip. And that being said, you're going to have to hunt them down, plucking each one of them out. It's a pain in the butt to do it. There's also a gum removal machine. I think they're about $5,000. They use beet juice and they portable. You still got to hunt every one of them down either way. So over the years, I've just hunted them down with a yellow tip. Sometimes, like I said, I'll lay down some degreaser, little SH, kind of loosen things up, and then go back and just pop them up.
All right, and H2O, he's got a pretty interesting question here. H2O Home Improvements, he says, any plans to do an exclusively government training course on how to get them, who to talk to, etc.?
Yes, I do plan on doing that. It's going to take a lot of work on my behalf. I don't know if will include that on our training page, which I could, or it could be phone conversations. Right now, I would be best set up to do a phone conversation with someone if I wanted to teach them, just because of all the extra homework I have to do to put into a training course. But I may do both at some point in the near future. But that could be a definitely big deal for a lot of the guys out there. Obviously, defense spending is always massive. Also, public schools is massive. infrastructure. I believe we're going to probably have a huge infrastructure bill coming up in this year from Washington, D.C. So whether it gets passed or not, we'll have to wait and see. But the infrastructure bill is going to pump a couple, $2 or $3 trillion into the economy. And position yourself right now, because it does take a little time to get into these government protocols to get these calls coming in. They call it the GSA. So to get into that procurement program does take a couple months. They do a background check on you. They do a means test on you in most cases. So basically, you can't be going through bankruptcy, a divorce, or it might be something like a felony or something on you. So they do a little bit of that. They want to make sure if you're working in a hospital, military base, or a school or something, you're an outstanding citizen. So it takes a little time to get through that. There are some requirements to it. You got to submit banking information, EIN numbers and stuff. But the good news is once you get in, my email daily gets filled up with government leads. I mean, I could do that 24 hours a day if I wanted to. But and then there's pre-conference bids. It's a whole process to it. But once you get in the click of it, the money is about 3 times as much as commercial pays. It does take a little longer to get paid off of each job. But once, like I said, once you get in the click, it's almost like just routine work at that point. You kind of get used to the red tape, if you will. You know what to expect. We have someone that does that for us. She's, a salary-based person that would deal with our government contract stuff. But yeah, to answer your question, Hunter, I may do that really soon. And if you want to call me in the next couple of days, talk to me personally, I'll be happy to speak to you about it.
All right, and we got 62 people in here.
62. We appreciate
Got
every
36 likes so far. Thank y'all.
36. That's almost half.
Yeah, that's almost half of y'all. Let Miles leave a like, man.
Hey, 50% ain't bad. What else can we ask for? So if we had 62 likes, would that make you happy?
Yeah, that made me real happy. That would make the.
I heard one guy said, if you don't like this broadcast, double tap that thumbs down button.
Yeah.
Double tap it.
Yeah, hit it twice.
Hit it twice.
All right. Let's get back to business here. We've got we are at 72 minutes. Yes, sir. I got another question for
I'm gonna
you.
go. I can give my own self a like on here. in the iPad. I mean, I got the iPad and the iMac right here.
We get 3 more right here.
Log on right here. 3 likes.
All right. Okay. Now, Do It All Garage, he says, is blue and yellow ADA compliant for handicap spots, or do they have to be blue and white?
Yes, they can be blue and yellow. Actually, it's contrasting colors is what they, obviously it can't be red, but a form of blue. The only time I use the yellow is inside the handicap box. That's if I'm doing yellow lines out there, I'll do the yellow man inside the handicap box. If I'm doing white lines, I'll do white. Generally speaking, it's either or is going to be compliant.
Alrighty. Okay. And Tyler James, he says, ever buy a business, Billy? You ever bought any businesses?
Yeah, I have. It didn't work out too good. We actually own part of a truck washing place down in Florida, and we bought it from someone else. I had 2 other guys in there that were partners. These were really strict business guys, and so they was washing trucks for FedEx, Amazon, Chiquita Banana, and all that. They were making a lot of money. I was making a lot of money. I just never could be there. The only thing about having a bought business, you buy everything that is good about that business that you're buying, and you buy everything that was bad about that business. And in our case, this business that we did buy had some bad reviews out there, had some litigation at some point where they heard some things with washing some vehicles. And what they did, guys, they used a reputation manager to clean all of that up. So when we went in to look at the books, we gave a ton of money for it. It's like a couple $100,000 each for this business. We went and looked at the books. The books looked great. We had a professional look at the books. But what we didn't look at, we didn't know, they had a reputation manager cleaned up all the bad reviews and stuff. And it only lasted so long. So like after about 3 or 4 months, we seen these bad reviews coming back onto our Google listing. Business dropped off. I wanted out at that point. They bought me out. And last I heard, one of the hurricanes ravaged the buildings down in Florida, and it was an insurance deal that's all done. But like I said, you buy the good things, and you could be buying a bunch of bad problems too. So just be very careful when buying someone else's business, because at the end of the day, there's a reason why they're selling it, right?
Yeah, and we've jumped up to 57 likes. Thank y'all. We appreciate
It's amazing,
every
guys.
single one of them. All right. And speaking of buying things, Tyler James asks, "How do you feel about buying a customer list?"
There again, I guess if you're not paying a whole lot for it, it might be worth those phone numbers and emails. You just don't know the reputation the person that giving you that customer list had. If now I do like these business to business leads, but residential customer lists, I would say probably wouldn't be worth a whole lot. So if you can get it cheap, maybe do it and just try it.
All right. And so we got a striping question from Rich Hoops. He says, "Is it okay to or ever recommended to dilute latex line striping paint?"
Yes. Yeah. You can dilute it some. Reason being, if it's hot outside, if it sits in a bucket, we call it reconstitution. So reconstituting the paint with the water, usually it's about 1 cup or 8 ounces of water per 128 ounces of latex paint, no more. Now, if it starts to dry out, you can reconstitute it again. But just be careful. There are a lot of stripers out there that try to make their paint go further, and they mix a bunch of water with their paint, or solvents with their paint, and then it looks good for about a month, and then after that it looks bad. So just make sure you don't do it too much, and you should be fine.
Alrighty, and let me see. GoBro7, he's asking, what companies do you think would be best to network with? That's interesting.
Like referring to marketing companies, or
I don't
maybe
know.
you can clarify that
Yeah,
for your.
we'll get another one for now. Another question then. Okay, so here's an interesting one from Baz Viz. He says, "How would you remove lines off asphalt?"
You don't. There's no way. You usually got to do a gray out on it. Like I said earlier, any degreasers that you use, solvents, paint removers, or pressure is going to degrade that blacktop. So we do teach that in the All Pro parking lot striping course, how to gray out those lines properly, that sort of thing. And I'm going to be adding to the All Pro parking lot striping course, guys. If y'all haven't jumped in it right now, we got some enormous discounts on the All Pro striping course. It was normally valued at almost $1,500. We had an independent agency value this course. It was like $1,400 something. We had sold some at right around $1,000. It's going back up to that price. I can guarantee you it's going to be at $900 something before spring. Right now it's below $500. Unbelievable how cheap they got the price. So if y'all want in, now's the time to get in. You basically get it half price and any free updates as well. And we go over all that. We even teach you how to market your new parking lot striping business in 8 hours or more. Even Apex was filming some of our new updates here lately.
Yeah, we made some additions to it. And so we got speaking of this, well, here's another question. Okay. So K Meyer 52172 says, "My 2 boys are getting ready to start out. What advice do you have when jumping into a market with several other established washing companies there? And is it feasible to use a van like an Econoline 150, so like the Ford 150 van?"
So let's take the van first, because that could be a safety issue. Vans are fine to use so long as you don't store or use sodium hypochlorite outside that van. So that being said, any sodium hypochlorite shall not enter into that van's cabin area. So however they want to transport their sodium hypochlorite or transport it, it needs to be in an open air situation. There's 2 reasons for that. Obviously, the gases can overcome somebody, even in a moving van, even in what you might think a well-ventilated van. Those gases from sodium hypochlorite rapidly expand when it comes out of a container, and is very toxic to our respiratory system. In addition to that, the sodium hypochlorite can rust out the components of that van rather quickly. Electrical components, safety components in that van, such as airbags and stuff like that. It has been known that sodium hypochlorite disables this stuff, and they won't know it until they have an accident and the airbags didn't deploy because everything was corroded. So think about that. But as far as transporting the equipment itself, obviously you got to worry about the fuel, gas cans, that sort of thing. But other than that, you should be able to transport. I've seen people do it, put a rig inside of there and use it out of the rig. Ventilation is really important. While the machines are running, you have a heat buildup, gasoline powered engines put off fumes themselves and heat. So got to think about that. So there's a lot that goes into using like an Econo 150 van, but that's all you got. I get it. You have to make do with it. Now, just getting started in a saturated market. Now, you said there was 2 or 3 other people in your area, or 10. Wouldn't really matter. In my area, we have a population of about 50 or 60,000 people that we serve, and there's probably 10 pressure washers within a stone's throw distance from us. So marketing is very important in creating a relationship with your every new customer. Taking good before and after pictures is very important. Doing a good yard sign strategy, having good print material. And also, like we were speaking about before, I don't know if you were on at the moment, we were talking about our 3-legged marketing stool. And guys, y'all might get tired of me saying this, but it really means, it could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars to you. Facebook, Google My Business, and YouTube. All 3 of those marketing platforms, you need to be pumping content into all 3 of those platforms daily. If you're not doing that daily, you're going to see a slowdown in your business. If you do it, and it's not like a instant reaction. If I go on my Google My Business tonight and pump in several photos, those photos may not get traction until March or late February. Sometimes there's a 4, 6, 8 week delay on it. So what you do now, that like that old saying, you sow those seeds today, tomatoes grow later. So do those things. Even in a saturated market, you can stay extremely busy. Matter of fact, think about this, guys. Most homeowners are going to get a couple prices, 3 prices, 4 prices. We ran into a homeowner that got 8 prices. We was the 8th one there. If I'd have known that, I probably wouldn't even went and looked at it. But we did land a job. So if you're out there doing your marketing and you still have other people in your area marketing as well, so long as you can show up in a Google My Business first 3 to 5, you're going to start receiving those calls. So sometimes your competition could be your best friend. They're going out there, getting the customer, initiating contact with the customer. The customer takes a quote for them. They're the first bid in. The customer gets on Google, does some research. She jumps on Facebook, looks you up. There you are again. And she happens to run across your yard sign or finds you on YouTube. She calls you in. You're the 3rd or 4th bid, and then you close the deal. So think about that. I think about competitors as a benefit to me as well.
Yeah, and guys, let's talk about a little bit of etiquette here. So let's say that you're in the same area, multiple competitors. Don't go ripping up each other's yard signs. Don't start a yard sign war, because first off, that's illegal. That is their property, and you can be charged for that. And second off, just put your sign somewhere else or right next to theirs, not in front of theirs. You let it be up to the customer to make that choice, because chances are, out of all the people looking at them, there's going to be a customer for him, a customer for you, and for that price range and that service. So be kind. And so we've got some more questions here, and we are up to 63 likes and 61 viewers. So the likes have exceeded the viewership. You guys are killing it.
Y'all guys are amazing. Hey, and if y'all want to share this live broadcast on your Facebook feed, have some other people join in, and this might help. I'm all about spreading this knowledge out. I want as many as people can see this, especially in these times right now. Some of this could be very important stuff. So whether you are a full-time pressure washer guy, if you're doing it part-time, or if you have some adult kids, teenager kids that want to get into it, sometimes this can be very important information.
Yeah, it'll certainly pay a lot more than their starting job.
Yeah. Well, I hear they're going to raise the minimum wage to like $15 an hour. Whatever they need to do, they need to do it. But in this business, $150 an hour is a normal residential pay. So imagine 10 times in what minimum wage. I know if somebody has a couple teenage sons, like 16, 17, 18 years old. They're out washing. The guy told me he's retired. He's a retired engineer from like Amtrak or one of the major train people.
Yeah.
His sons are making more than he made in the prime of his life, washing people's houses and driveways. So, look, the American dream's still alive, and I think it's even going to flourish more. We just have to show people and motivate them too as well. You can do this. If we can do it, you can do it. We're no geniuses, and we're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing the same thing that we're talking about to you right now. So this can be done everywhere. And we live in a small town, so there's competition everywhere. Apex got competition living next door to them, so it can be done.
Yeah, there's more than enough to go around, guys. Like, just get out there and go get it. Make it happen.
Make it happen.
That's what I always say at the end of my videos. I say, go get it. I say that for a reason. Now, here's so this comment here, like, Do It All Garage. He says, I've been struggling with my pressure/soft wash business for the last 2 years. Just got a contract to clean 16 shopping centers quarterly. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's amazing. I would like to hear your story, man. Maybe once you get some of these completed, and maybe we can jump on live with him one day and hear how, you don't have to tell everybody all the details, because obviously, you don't want everybody to know, but we can just kind of hear the general way that you landed these and how it may make a big difference in your life.
Yeah, that's great to hear, man. Like, for real. I bet you're excited about that.
And those 16 shopping centers, they all probably need parking lot striping, and I'm an advocate about it. When I walk up on a job, guys, especially a commercial job, I'm looking, if they got a hanging gutter, I'm thinking about, can I fix this? Can I sub it out? If the parking lot needs to be striped, potholes, broken curbs, you name it, a pole leaning, I'm there to make money, and I will itemize all this stuff. A lot of times, these general managers that's working at a shopping center, fast food restaurant, or apartment complex, they don't know who to call. They Google, if they Google pothole repairs, nothing pops up. So we are going to make sure they know everything that we're capable of doing. And funny, I was mentioning about apartment complexes. Guys, go after those dumpster pads in the apartment complex. We are landing some of those now. Something new I'm going to probably add to that training course at some point. But apartment complexes is really, we got an apartment complex that's got 6 of these dumpster pads in it. She wants all of them done once a month. So that's major money right there, just that one client.
Yeah, and okay, so Michael Garza has a question, and I'll go ahead and take this one. So he says, how do y'all store SH? Well, we store SH in a 50-gallon tank right now, but there's things about this that you need to know regardless of the size of the container. So first off, you definitely want to make sure the only tap into that tank is at the top of it. You are, by law, you cannot have one at the bottom of the tank, especially if you're buying it in bulk, because they won't let you get the SH in bulk. If you have like an opening, like a ball valve on the bottom, they'll send you home. Like, they'll send you away from their store. And so another thing is, when you have this much sodium hypochlorite, you want to keep it in the shade, in like a storage unit or something, a well-ventilated area, out of the sunlight. And if you have to mix in some surfactant, let's say you go do a roof job, you have to mix some surfactant in, it will over time lessen the strength of that SH, not to an extreme degree, but it does affect it. And preferably, here's the way I like to do it, man. I'll just tell you, I like to get the job, schedule the job, like a roof cleaning, and then I'll go pick up my SH like the day before. So I'm getting like some fresh, hot stuff to throw on that roof, and that way it'll make everything pretty much one coat and hot spots after that. So yeah, definitely. Biggest thing is, and another thing, let's say you have a tank in the back of your truck, dude, make sure it's secure. Like, I'm talking,
don't flop over on
you. 2 ratchet straps, if not 3. If you can have something on a metal pallet welded, I'll tell you what, if you're doing this, man, go get yourself a skid from southeastsoftwash.com. I personally, I'm still saving up for mine. I've been having a lot of stuff going on in my life with, like financing my house and just different things. So for now, I use his blend manifold, which I also bought on southeastsoftwash.com. I use the surfactant, but I'm telling you, man, that soft wash mini skid, it has an aluminum pallet, so that's not going to rust, and it's also got the welded frame parts that actually hold the tanks in place. That's huge.
You would have to flip the truck over to dislodge that tank out of it.
Yeah.
But another thing about these tanks, guys, that you're putting bleach in, it needs to be chemical compatible. So some tanks are not created to handle sodium hypochlorite, and you could get leaky tanks. I've seen that before plenty, where they rust out the bed of a truck. Or like the person was asking about the van earlier, that bleach could just kill that van out in a matter of no time, like that day. So obviously bleach is not flammable, but it is highly corrosive, and that is two different things. Corrosive means it causes oxidation, flash oxidation, rust, that sort of thing. So make sure you're storing it in a very well ventilated place. If you're worried about bleach degradation, you can cover it with a tarp to keep the sunlight off of it. Also, the ambient temperature dropping and falling really affects your sodium hypochlorite really quickly. So for example, if it reaches up to 50 or 60 degrees in the daytime, but at nighttime it's dropping below 32 degrees, although the bleach is not going to freeze because it's got a lot of salt in it, the temperature of the sodium hypochlorite is below 32. And then the next day it warms back up. So you get these wide variation swings, these oscillations in temperature, and then the sodium hypochlorite loses its potency. So in the wintertime, don't get more than what you're going to use in the next 7 to 10 days. Keep it covered up with a blue tarp. That'll keep the UV light off of it, and also it may keep it warmer at night as well. It warms up in the daytime because that dark color tarp is going to absorb heat, keeps the temperature up in the sodium hypochlorite, and kind of tints it at night, if you will. Well, Jacob, let's take a couple more, and then we're going to hop off here because we got a couple errands to run tonight with our parking lot striping. And guys, I want to mention this real quick before we take 2 more questions. We appreciate these likes. We really do. I know we joke about it, hit that like button. It really means the world to us. Sometimes this is, we set up with the camera. It took us 15 minutes to set this up and getting everything in place. So we definitely appreciate y'all liking these videos and commenting with us and interacting with us. That lets us know that we want to keep doing this. So we enjoy that. Also, check out Apex's channel, please. Like I said, we're trying to get him up to 1,000 subscribers on his channel right here. I'm looking at it now. We appreciate those likes. And if y'all need any of our training courses, y'all can text me directly. And if you want to put my phone number in the chat box as well.
Absolutely.
And then we'll take another question or 2, and then we're going to get out of here. And hopefully get to see y'all next weekend, sure.
All right. And that's his number in the chat. You guys can go check that out. And the YouTube channel that posted his number, that's my channel. Y'all click on that if y'all want to check mine out.
Subscribe to Apex.
And so we have another question here, and I'll go ahead and handle this one. Rich Hoops, he says, what kind of lighting setup do you use at night if there's no electricity? I've been nervous about committing to a night job for this reason. Okay, so remember that storefront that we cleaned? And it was over there, and we had to park kind of on the street. And so let's just talk about this. So if there's no electricity available at the job site, what you can do is bring the electricity with you. That is devices that use batteries. I'm talking flashlights, headlights. There are ways to get plenty of light in your job site.
Do you mean we can't build a bonfire in a parking lot?
Yeah, let me get some s'mores.
No, handheld lighting device, rechargeables. We got some that last 3 or 4 hours. Obviously, you want 2 or 3 of them. They recharge on your vehicle. You can use one. I charge them all up at home. That way I have 3 fresh ones in the truck. As soon as one runs out, I throw it on the accessory charging it, grab the next. They $20 or $30. Some of those handheld lights. Make sure you get a waterproof one. Even if you're parking lot striping, you know, it's good to have a waterproof them and bring them home with you, because don't do like we do. We leave them on the job sometimes.
And like, I remember we had this big job that we were doing out of state, and I had my little headlight thing.
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, boy, I had a pocket full of Duracells to keep swapping out in that thing, and it lasted all night.
Yep.
So,
Yep. If you're making money, you're not worried about what the battery costs
Yeah,
or
that's-
rechargeable. I like rechargeables myself.
yeah, it's less trash to deal with, because then the wasted batteries get confused for the new batteries. Rechargeable is the way to go for sure. It's worth it. Okay, and
So how many people are we up to here?
okay, so we are up to 56 people and 71 likes.
We appreciate it, guys.
We appreciate that.
Let's take one more question and then we're gonna get out of here. And again, we got our number in the chat box below if y'all need to get in touch with us for any of our training courses.
All right, and okay, so there's this guy, Billy B. If you want to go ahead and type in your question or call in, we will answer it right now, because unfortunately his didn't get answered, but we'll give you a chance here. Like, I might have overlooked it.
What does it say? Or
I can scroll up and
oh,
find
okay,
it.
okay, yeah. If you want to retype it, I think
Yeah.
he kind of got inundated and all of them kind of flowed up on it. Sometimes we'll lose a question or two.
Okay, I found it. Billy B. He says, what should be in a terms and conditions when sending a quote to a residential customer?
Well, obviously, you're going to let them know if you're doing a roof wash, they need to move any fragile items indoor themselves. I paid the price for that. Now, I will move some chairs and tables. If it's to an extent, if it's extreme, you need to upcharge it or they need to move it. But I never want to touch anything fragile, such as wind chimes and things on the wall. I broke my share of those, and I don't want to mess with them again. Televisions, outdoor televisions, you want to make sure the customer covers that up as well. If not, that's going to be another upcharge. Another terms and conditions that you can't be responsible for things such as leaky windows. So if they have any what we call faulty equipment, that is up on the customer to at least make you aware of it. You will need to cover outlets. We burnt one up not too long ago. It was a covered outdoor outlet. We assumed it was in good shape, but just a tiny bit of water got in it and blew the outlet. So that's obviously faulty equipment. So make sure that's in your terms and conditions. But most importantly, make sure it's in your terms and conditions that payment is to be rendered upon completion of the job.